Hello, this is Victor, and in the tutorial of this week I will do some work on the base of the start rake. You will find a full tutorial in the future. I will do all the tutorial of how to paint the start rake, except the base. The base will be included only in this part, where I will focus on the rings, because this part is going to be very similar of what I did on the other bases, and I think it's a repetition. To avoid a repetition, I will not repeat on that, but I will explain how I paint these rings and also the scattered rocks that we have here. And the first step that I'm going to do is I will apply some dark gray. There are different options for this dark gray, and in that case I will apply a stone vermin fur. It's quite a dark gray that have a little bit of brownish tone. So let me show you. So this is the stone vermin fur. I will apply this. I know it's a layer, but it's working well, and there is not issues. As you can see, I was trying to check how the wash is working there. I will do this later on because I will wash the full base later on. So we are going to apply this base color in all the parts where we have the rims. Okay, I will do that. There is not much mystery here. It's just apply a base color to all the rocks, yeah, stones, runes that you want to paint. And once this is done, I will be back. As usual, just try to apply thin layers, but of course in that case, yeah, if you are not that thin, will not be like this. You can be more rough, I would say. But as you can see, I will apply this, try to apply on all the parts that you want to look more like rocks or ruins, and I will use this to differentiate from the rest of the base. Of course, later on we are going to work to mimic them more into the base and to make them pop up less. But as you can see, I will just paint all the... And here there is also the tree. I will also explain how I do this dead tree. But so on, I will do it all over the place. Okay? And I will be back once this is done. So you can see I applied the base color in all the rocks. The next I will do is I will apply Beneblade brown on this that tree, that plant, I don't know what's that. Again, we apply just a base color. It's quite, I go for a brown, greenish brown, always when I'm trying to do, and I want to give the look of that tree, that bush, or how you want to call it. So just now apply the base color. Again, nothing special here. Just doing the base color, and I will be back once this is done. So I applied now the brown here on this dead tree, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the full base with Agvax Air Shade. I want to make the base darker, and as well I will apply the same on the rings. So I will take quite a big brush because it's going to be quite a lot of work here, and in that case I will not be I will not be super careful. I allow to I will not be concerned if I do some pulls of Agvax Air Shade. And the idea is, for example, here we are going to go here. I will wash everything. I want to give this old earthy color, so this brown will make the stones look more like dirt, more older. So it will be, see, it's just a fast dry brush, and even in that case you don't need to be super precise. And if you have, I will avoid to have big pulls of Agvax Air Shade. I don't like to have big pulls, but I will not go into detail. So as you can see, I go quite straightforward. We have to think that here I will need to glue the second part that is on the dragon, and then on the tree this will really increase. You can see that the wash is doing the work, and we are going to have better definition between the tree and the ring. So I'm going to apply the Aquax Air Shade. As you can see, this is quite straightforward again. Not really to paint the ruins. You don't need really special techniques. Mainly is with wash and dry brush should work. But here I want just to show how I will do this once. And at the end we are going to use some pigments to make the ruins even more interesting. So that's all for this step. You can see this is done. I will apply in the rest of the base on the same. So you see I will apply on the rest of the base the wash, and I will be back once this is done. So this is how it's looking like once the wash is dry, as you can see. And now I'm going to, before doing the rest of the base, I'm going to do first the rinse, because I always like to use the wash or the dry brush on the base to do the dirtiness on the rooms. So what is going to be my next step is I will use downstone gray. Okay, I will use downstone gray. I will do a dry brush of this, and now we are going to use a series of heavy dry brushes. So let's take a brush appropriate for that. Normally I use my old brushes to do that. Okay, so let's start doing first a dry brush with downstone gray. And we are going to start with the stairs, for example. Okay, as you can see. And this can be quite heavy at that point, because I want to, these are runes and I want to really go heavy with this dry brush. So this first one is not that different from the base color. Now it's much clearer because we did the wash, but we are going to go for a heavy dry brush with this color. Okay, this will remove a little bit the brown for the most exposed surfaces, and will start helping in popping up the different edges of the runes. So as you can see, okay, go here. And just dry brush until you are happy with this step. You can leave some brown parts and you can then clean others. So it's up to everyone how they want to use it here. Okay, so I will use the dry brush on that. I will go to fast speed and I will be back. So the next color I'm going to use is Fortress Gray. You can use Administrator Gray if you are using the new color range from Games Workshop, any of these two is working well. So I will use now Fortress Gray. Okay, again we are going to do a dry brush. You can use any light gray to do that, to be fair. Let's start with here to see how, okay. You can see this is popping up. I prefer to start with something that is not as important. Now we can start playing this on the stones. I try not to apply too much pressure on the brush, and just with the dry brush pop up all the details. Okay. This is going to do a quite important step versus the previous one, and we are going to use this to do this type of you see this the dry brush is a technique that works very well to do stone work, because it gives this chalkiness that is typical from stones, and this type of texture, like granulate texture, that match perfectly with the stone. I especially recommend when you are doing runes of, that are from plastic beads, because plastic are too smooth to be stone, to be fair, if you compare with the texture with the bark that I have just next to these stones. But when you start doing the dry brush, all this, if you have some lighter spots like here, this is okay. We don't want uniformity on that one. So, and again, I will keep doing that with on all the rocks. Now the rocks will have more deepness. You will see more. The runes you will see more. The different details. The crevices should remain darker. You can keep some of these pools that we have from the wash, because they give a natural dirtiness. I also keep a little bit the brown on the bottom. So you want to work like that, okay? Here, for example, I'm okay. So you don't want to cover all what was brown. You want to keep the non-uniformity. So you want to keep this non-uniform. You can do more on one stone than other. Just for example, here I just go very fast. Here you can insist more on the top and give more contrast even on this stone. So it's just don't apply the same in all the rocks and in all the stones. So just use your criteria to not be uniform. And now, next step, I will keep doing dry brushes, but now I will start using the dry paints from Games Workshop. You can use any light grays, but I like a lot to use the dry paints from Games Workshop, because they give a lot of texture, and I like to give texture. In that case, because I want them to look like desertic, a desertic area where there is not too many life, I avoid greens. I go more on browns and greys. So I will start first using Terminator's stone. This is quite a creamy color, almost white, from the dry paints of Games Workshop. So you see it's very chalky, so it's very thick. I will just point. You can do this here on the stairs to break the uniformity. Okay, let's make that here. Let's put it on the stonework of the wall, just a little bit. And to be fair, these dry paints are really prepared to do that, and they give a very nice texture. So I mainly use the dry paints when I want to give texture to stones and to things like that. I don't use them in miniatures because I think they are too they are too chalky, they are too thick to apply on the miniatures. But I think when you try when you apply this on rings is when they really perform to a great scale. So this is quite a fast work. Okay, you see, I really like this work. Okay, it's working really well. We are going to apply, and this is a little bit warmer than the way that I used before. Is more a cream color, but will give a little bit more. As you can see, that these stones look warmer than these ones. I'm going to play a little bit here as well. You see, this give, and you don't need to play in all the stones, so you just scatter this randomly. Okay, you need to cover the full stone here. Okay, not all the stones are the same. I'm going to use now long beard grey. Okay, I keep the pots open because sometimes I go back and forth with this. Okay, again, you see it's very chucky. Let's take the excess. Let's go to this stone first. You see, it's really, we can do this side here. So you can keep some stones lighter, some stones darker. The idea is not to have uniformity. And try to avoid that the brush strokes are too evident. So what you can make here, I can again. Okay. So you see how this is working. And now I'm going to do dry brush with elderflesh. I don't need to shade this one, to be fair. Elderflesh is like a creamy warm color, and mainly I will use this dry brush on this dead tree. Okay, so I'm going to apply this on this dead tree. Sorry, I went off camera, sorry. So you see, and you can keep this pool there because it makes sense that some parts of the bark are darker than others. So just, okay, if you see that it's contrasting too much, you can always use a little bit of brown. Okay, and the same, I will use it here more, just some little bit to create some intense color. So you see, I can use this, will give a little bit, will break a little bit the use it here, and will change, will break the uniformity. You can use it on the rocks at the bottom. So I like to really use different light colors and creams to break, and as I say, as I'm looking for like a desertic area, I'm avoiding greens, because greens give sensation of life, and I want to avoid here the sensation of life, even the sensation of rotten life, because all my Tonkas Eternal are standing on, even the flock I'm going to use here is quite pale, brownish, so I want to avoid the look of any something that can demonstrate some life. We can, for example, we can imagine that here there was some paint. We can put a little bit more here. You know, this part of the wall was a little bit lighter. We can put you can play with that, okay, to make some parts different, give some different tonality. but everything should look washed, right? You don't want that something is looking like clean or nice. Okay, I think this is good enough for the ruins, how they look like. I hope the camera is able to capture all the different tonalities. It's just combination of dry brush and wash at this point. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the rest of the base, because I need to do the rest of the base before finalizing the ruins. So I will do the rest of the base and I will be back. This is how the base is looking like right now, that I did the dry brush on the other parts. Yeah, as you can see, it looks quite good now. And to be fair, we can finish here the painting of these ruins. But now I want to show you some other techniques that we can use with powders, and I will use dark sand from Games Workshop, from Forge World, sorry. Okay, it's quite a yellowish one. I want to give the sensation of dust, so let's work with this a little bit. I will use a brush. In that case, I take a little bit of this. I don't wet it, and I just apply this. For example, you can apply this on, take a look like here on the corners. Okay, you can do this, and we give the sensation of dirtiness. Okay, we can use. You want to apply this where you like it. Okay, so So you have to be careful, and we are going to know and that later on we will need to fix these pigments, because the pigments can be quite can dirty the miniatures, so you have to be careful before doing the next step. But you see, this is giving really a very nice touch here, so we can, okay, we can keep adding a little bit of this. Okay, there's one thing, if you put too much, sometimes I use, let me see if I find it back here. You can use these type of things that are used for makeup to really push some of this out if you put too much. Okay, so I'm going to, and then on the base I will go for a darker one. We can use light earth, for example, a browner one. We can put this in the base. Okay, this will give a little sensation of dirtiness in the base. Okay, the base of the, so you see, I hope you can see, I will do it now, try to do it better. For example here, I will apply this like that. Okay. The good point of these powders is that they give the transition very easily, and it will give you really the sensation of dirtiness, and they are very matte, so they really work very well as dusting. So let's put a little bit more here. Okay. And then to match the rest of my army, because you know my army had, so for example here that is too dark, I will put these powders. You can use these powders also to make this look lighter. It will work very well if it's too dark for you, because I wanted something that is looking more less dark, so I can use the powders to give additional texture here. Okay. It's just as usual, apply where you like it and don't do too much. You can keep some dark and some more dusty. You have to be careful because they dirt a lot. The other powders that I'm going to use are the H Rust from Forge Wall, and I'm using these ones because are the reddish ones that I use on my other bases, and I want to have the same type of reddish brown in that base. So I will, for example, apply here. This will give another tone variation and will enrich really the base. You can also apply it a little bit on the base, and this will make the sun look less uniform. For example, here that is too much. I just go with that. You put a little bit of this, and will look more interesting. Okay. I like really this look like this reddish sun, and I think this is ideal for mechanical bases because it's really a very natural reddish color. Okay, let's put a little bit here, for example, so you can combine this. We can put something a little bit, we can put a little bit of this one as well. Let's put it a little bit at the bottom here. So yeah. The only point that you have to be careful with this is that can start hiding some of the details that you already did before, so you don't want to go too much heavy. Just put some pulls. This one, for example, here is where it goes the feet, so I'm not very concerned there. What we can do is, because I'm going to apply, I will just apply just in case something is visible, but you see it goes pretty well. Here it's too dark, I will apply this red. So you can combine this, will make the base look less uniform, more interesting. So we can put here, for example, and you can combine both of them, the different sizes. This is a big base, so you can combine the different powders. Okay, and once I'm done with that, I will apply, so let me put some darker ones here. You can put even a little bit of the reddish one here. See, give very nice. You can put it, you see, I go on top of this, for example, just like that. Will give this sensation. Okay. So, and as I said, this is just something that you might like to do, or you is not something that is really needed. You can go here and put in the crevice. See, once it's removed, the crevice is looking more red. I will add some shading here. So this will add more interesting color for finishing. Some people will say that it's less natural. So many colors. I like really to combine. I think this is good enough. I don't want to do more. Okay, just here in this rock I will really be sure that I apply here. Okay, and I think this is good enough. I think this base is looking great. It's ready to host the bake. And to be fair, I will use the same techniques on this, so I will not paint this, I will not explain this again when I'm doing the bake. I will just paint it, and I will just focus on the painting of the actual bake. So this is all, and now the last finishing is going to be just to apply varnish on top of that. So I will apply a layer of spray varnish from Games Workshop. Use just to fix the pigments and to avoid that later on when manipulating we get our fingers dirt with that, because if you don't fix the powders, they don't get fixed to the base. So I hope you find this interesting, this tutorial. Here you see the ruins how are looking like from one side, from the other. I think they look good, really interesting base for the bake. So yeah, that's all for this week. I hope you find this interesting, instructive. If you want to support my channel, I have a Patreon account. My content is going to be for free. I will have always the content for free. I just asking if you can support me. It will be very helpful to buy stuff, as you can, and to be able to keep doing all these tutorials in a regular basis I'm doing today. Because yeah, just asking for some support of the community to keep doing these wonderful tutorials. If you cannot support, no problem. You will keep enjoy from these tutorials. I hope as long as possible. And so far, you cannot expect it will stop soon. So that's all for now. Please comment, like if you have liked it. Let me know what do you think. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching and see you again later. Bye.